Hi there, you gorgeous soul. It's great to see you again and welcome to our episode 2 on this 10-week series about chronic inflammation. My name is Katsumi Sakamoto and I do ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you can be notified as soon as possible that we have a new episode up. Also, don't forget the bell sign. Okay, so last week we spoke about the reason why I decided to do this series, and also we differentiated acute inflammation, which can be something very good and most of the time is something really good, a response from our defense system to alert us, so a positive reaction, against chronic inflammation which can be, and most time is, really bad and accumulates over time and manifests itself, silently accumulates over time and manifests itself as very serious diseases after a while. We also touched on the probability that the cause for a chronic inflamed, if we can call it like that, society today, modern society, is due to our bad eating habits and sedentarism, right? So this is a modern problem and we're just trying to create awareness regarding it so people can have information and can actually know about what's going on inside of them on a cellular level, right? And I'm sorry about this noise, crazy things about home office, right? Someone is doing some construction work, my neighbors. I do hope I'm able to finish this video and can communicate myself well enough so you guys can understand me. I'll check it out later. But today we're going to be talking about how we can reassure ourselves that we are suffering or not, which would be much more positive, if we are chronic inflamed or not. And one of the biomarkers that has been discovered to be a very effective tool to understand if a body is chronically inflamed or not is the omega-3 fatty acid index, right? Or the ratio between omega-6 to 3 fatty acids in our body. So that's very good biomarker we can analyze, and we're going to mention a study done in published in 2018 talking about that. But before I go there, I do think it's worth mentioning how important I believe testing is, right? I'm a very science-based person. I like to know things for certain, and testing is so important, right? Because one thing is you listen to a video that I'm talking about or any other health professional and we talk about all these different types of things, and well, we are talking here specifically about chronic inflammation, and suddenly I say 97% of people in the world are chronic inflamed. You might believe me, you might not believe me, or even if you do believe me, you might think, am I inside those 3% that are in the safe zone? You might be, we don't know, right? So testing is so important because it takes the guess out of it and brings some proof, right? And one of the best tests that I found that can tell us what our omega-3 index is and what our ratio between omega-6 and 3 is, that could actually alert us regarding the chronic inflammation inside our bodies, is a dry blood spot test, right? That's so practical that you can do at home. I'm not showing here the brand of it, but you can actually order it. And if you are interested in testing yourself after the video, you can contact me or comment or do anything like this, because then I can get you in touch with that company that I did my test with and I was very, very satisfied with their services, right? So what this study published on Open Heart, it is from, like I said, 2018. It was published or accepted on November 15th, 2018. And the name of the article is Importance of Maintaining a Low Omega-6 to Omega-3 Ratio for Reducing Inflammation. It's James J. DiNicolantonio and James H. O'Keefe that have written this article, and I'm just going to quote them here because it's a very impactful sentence that they wrote. A systematic review of 26 randomized controlled trials concluded dietary omega-3 fatty acids are associated with plasma biomarker levels reflecting lower levels of inflammation and endothelial activation in cardiovascular disease and other chronic and acute diseases, including chronic renal disease, sepsis, and acute pancreatitis. So, all these crazy words and scientific names just to say that if we measure our omega-3 or our omega-6 to 3 ratio, we can actually have a pretty good idea of where our bodies are regarding inflammation, because two very specific biomarkers are usually measured when we're talking about inflammation, and those are the c-reactive protein, so CRP, right? C-reactive protein, and interleukin 6. So when we are chronic inflamed, those two substances, they are found very higher levels inside our bodies than it's supposed to be, right? What they found out with those studies is that the lower the omega-3 index, the higher the incidence of C-reactive protein and interleukin 6. In other words, they are inversely proportional, meaning that the more omega-3 that I have inside my body, the less inflammation I have inside my body. I'm sure that you have heard several times and several different professionals telling you that omega-3 fatty acids are important for our health. And here I am just mentioning and explaining a little bit more in more depth why that is. The omega-3 index, if you have a higher one, the incidence of inflammation inside your body is much lower, right? So like I mentioned, there is a test that you can do. Do look for those tests so you can find for yourself how good you are on a cellular level or how bad the situation is, right? Because living in doubt will only, well, it doesn't really help anything, does it? Because you might think, oh, I'm not going to do that test because then I might find that my omega-3 index is really low, so I've got a lot of inflammation inside of my body, and now I'm just desperate and I don't know what to do. It's very easy for us to overcome that problem once we know it exists. And this is probably the best and most serious work that I do with my clients, because once we change a few habits, things start getting better, and obviously all those biomarkers are put into place, if I may say like that. So please do find out, research on it. You can just Google omega-3 index testing, and you can find out more and how it is done. The one that I took, it's very, very simple. It came to my home, so It's just honestly a box like this that it comes, and you can just prick your finger and you put down 2 drops of blood. You wait for it to dry. You put on a special card and special envelope, and you send it to the laboratory. It's one of the highest quality laboratories in the world. For you to have an idea, Harvard and Oxford and Cambridge utilizes their services, so they just gives back to you a full analysis, not just of your omega-6 to 3 ratio or your omega-3 index, but they actually give you a full lipidic profile analyzing 11 fatty acids or different fatty acids that we have inside our body. So it's very complete, very easy to read. So I didn't need a doctor or anything to understand what that was saying, because it's very well explained. So if you are interested, if that lit some light inside of your head and say, look, I might as well just get tested just to make sure that I'm in the right track, or if I'm not, then I can make the necessary changes to overcome that problem. So if you are interested, please let me know, and I can point you in the right direction to find out how to take that test and actually take one, right? So this week, that's it for today, and I just wanted to talk about these biomarkers and how we can find out for sure that we are chronically inflamed or not. And next week, we're going to start exploring in a little more depth the consequences of being chronically inflamed. So all the possible diseases that can be manifested with it, and actually understand on a deeper level each one of them, or at least some of them, because obviously we're not going to talk about all of them because it's impossible in 10 weeks. But I do want to touch on a couple of diseases next week, and then we can explore further other diseases, and wrap up on a very good practical way of changing that inside of us, right? So like I always finish everything, remember, you are much more amazing than you think. I'll see you soon.